Good morning. It's Saturday. We're down here. We're not on any kind of hurricane watch or anything like that. But for me, every day that cone thing moves over and over every day. We still have a few days for that thing to keep moving. But right now, we're all in good shape. Down here, we can tell if something's coming because all the birds disappear. They just up and go. And to tell you the truth, I can't hear no birds. I didn't hear them yesterday neither. So anyways, my idea is just sit around and watch. I've been here a long time. Been through all the hurricanes. But in the beginning, we're going to have a conversation about the Bible. I never really ever did like reading that Bible, even as to get up as a deacon, and having to do my time at the podium to read off the day's lessons and stuff. I practiced, for about 20 or 30 minutes beforehand to make sure that I could say it without really making a mess of it, people wonder why I have my country accents, I tell them I make it up. It's all made up. Because I've been down there a long time. My family, they got rid of theirs, But when they come down and visit me, it wasn't very long before they all talking just like me. And, and as an artist, you want to kind of stand out from the crowd. And like I said, I've never really been one for following the crowd. Ever. I'm not behind the scene guys. Here, I make things and build things, and I paint stuff, and I'm more like, make stuff, I'm behind the scenes. When they put me up there in front of everyone and stuff like that, I just can't take it. So, I'd rather be behind the scenes. So anyhow, I'm on Channel 10 today, or yesterday it came out, Channel 10 in St. Pete, Florida. That's where I grew up. Went to school there, and somebody was down here doing some movies about art and strange stuff, and I painted cars. I do a lot of art cars in town, and have done them. That's how I learned how to paint. But that was a long time ago, but I still give to the street, it's public art, so it's a lot of fun. And one day maybe I'll go around and find a bunch of pictures and do a montage of them all. I've never done it for myself. It might be fun to do it for whoever else cares. But, I don't want to take up all this time, but, I wanted to, maybe I would go through the Bible one time, and once I got it done, I'll go on and do something else, because, this ain't church where you have to keep going over and over and over the same stuff all the time because you're an idiot, because the stories are basically all the same. And in the Old Testament, the idea of in the beginning, there was a whole mess of these to choose from. A whole mess of them. So when someone wants to really hold on to one of these as being true, and even our Bible has two different ones, and so, it's really tough on me to listen to grown-up people of any degree, whether they're grown up or gone to school or college professors, start talking about this as being real. It freaks me out. Even whenever I was, knee deep in the shit, or neck deep in it, there was some things, I said, do I gotta believe it? And I said, it's nail biting crap. But anyways, if you're gonna do that, set yourself up for some trouble, my friend, because you'll believe anything. But anyways, in the beginning, when they talk about the word actually becomes, if you think about it, what is a word? What is rolling off of our vocal cords and out of our mouths? But the vibration. This is a vibration or a frequency or something. So in the beginning, the word would actually be that there was something, and that would be like an agitation, and agitations and itches need scratching, and stuff like that. So aside from this 7 days of, which is your 7 days of creation, that's the energy part of you. This is the inside of you that's being created, not the physical side. Remember, when they're talking about creating Earth, they're talking about creating you. All right. Everyone and all these things, when you take something literally or fundamentally, is what they pushed out on everyone is you have to believe it at face value, and so, well, there you are, you're going to be lost right off the bat. But it's really talking about the individual. It's the making of you. And when it gets to the stars and the skies and the heavens and the firmament and all of that, they're talking about Duramata, Piyamata, and the arachnoid. This is also the same makeup for Solomon's temple. Hard mother. That's hard mother and soft mother, and Piyamata Piyamata is the little. There's a scrim or some kind of like a curtain that wraps around those inside of the brain, around the outside of our brains, and it's like a cushion, and it separates us right down the middle too. And this is Lot's. That's Lot's door. And that is the door from the left to right. Well, anyways. See how one story, they all are the same story. And that's what gets me. When I'm telling these stories, I can't read them out of the Bible. That's how I do it. I can't want to talk like that, but that's the Bible. That's the one. You don't want to go to these simpler ones. What I'm doing to it may sound like I'm like really, tearing it up. But in reality, I think it's really kind of making it more easy to understand. Because you don't need to be all that pompous stuff. You don't need to be soft and, this is, be careful, don't raise your voice. Let's not, I can't do that neither. For what? We're going to wake the dead? No, can't. So anyways, so I just had total disrespect for this shit. I really do. So anyways, in some ways I do, If I was doing it at my church, I wouldn't get caught doing it by my friends. But if they weren't there, shit, I ain't scared of nothing. But anyways, as they're building the days and building the temple and building your body, building you, the side of you, well, then there needs to be some kind of another world for you to be into also, something that would be involving eventually matter. And so, what they would say would be like the Big Bang, what we would call the day that things started happening, is actually explained in part by this Adam and Eve story. Because Adam becomes, we see him with a D spelt in his name, but, in a long time it's Atum, and so, Adam, it's an atom. And so when you take a negative, there's an electron in there. If you take that out of them, it's called splitting the atom. What happens? Kabam! You get this tremendous amount of multiplication things that come out when you do this. So, I believe they're calling it photon entanglement and something, when things like each other. When, a male and a female, they have made, they have such an entanglement that they come together and then they multiply, kabam, and that's the makings for an atom bomb. Right there in our Bible, in a lot of ways. I mean, it's explaining what happens. It's not the making of one, but it's the idea that regenerating and expanding out from there, So, it's very interesting. So what happens is in that story too with them there's obviously, like, besides the two naked guys or the two naked people running around, there's a snake involved and the word God. All right. So this is the beginning of everyone getting mixed up because they're looking at God as being a singular right at that time. But to make something in your image is to have a male and female in there. So I'm going to tell you right now that it's kind of like a story breaker, but the Kundalini is the female energy that's in there, and God on the other side is the not so nice side. All right. So and the way I'm going to tell you this is that it's the truth. How things get turned around backwards. And And anyway, so almost 10 minutes. Alright, so what happens is they're told, you know, they're in this beautiful place and they're running around naked. And if you can remember the last story I talked about where, you know, Laban, you know, was keeping Jacob, and Jacob was like, you know, getting bored out of his ass. He just couldn't wait to get home to his spotted sheep and have a great time. Well, that's because he was hanging out with God. You know, it's the story of hanging out in the garden, hanging out in the right hemisphere, hanging out. And that's what they were doing, naked, running around, hanging out. And they'll tell them, you know, don't eat from over here, the tree of good and evil. That's the carnal mind. Don't eat over there, motherfuckers. God tells them a lie. Well, damn it, I ruined it again. See there? But anyways, let me continue. It says, God says, don't eat over there, but surely you will die. You know? And of course, later on in Scripture, we find out that the root of all lies comes from Satan. Remember that. This is a really, really, really old allegory, telling quite a few stories all at one time, but always leading to the same. So what they did is they went and they ate from that tree. And the snake says, surely thou wilt not die. You will become like they, and you will know the difference between good and evil, and you will be like the gods. So they said, what the hell, man? And they got tricked. Adam, she, right? How, you know how I tell you in the stories, the trick is always in there, that you have to trick the left side out of its inheritance, you know. And so she tricks him. They eat this apple. Oh my God, they're naked now. They can see with their eyes. Oh my goodness, we'll see what they've fallen out of Eve. They have coming down the mountains. You see, so at one time in the beginning, they were all just having a great time up in heaven in the right side, the right hemisphere. And boom, they're down. Do you see how fun that is? You know, so next thing you know, see, it's just as fun in this way than taking it real. You know. So anyway, so while they're down there, now this is Adam actually escaping. It's Adam has come down. It may have been both of them, you know, maybe because of the way the story is, he comes down because now they're joined together. The body from the ground and the female side have been joined together. Holy matrimony. Actually kicked the fuck out of heaven, you know. Get out of here, you know. So, that's how our mind works, because we can't live up there. We can't. Damn it, we gotta go down. We gotta do something terrible. Anyway, so the guy who dies in that story is God. The one that tells the truth in that story is the snake, and the snake represents the Kundalini, because they bit from that side. But anyways. Alright, so the next thing that we have is that they'd have children, and then we'll wrap this up, you know. Cain and Abel, alright, are the children of Adam and Eve, alright? And so you would say that what you would get is you got a redhead Cain, and you got, you know, probably a blonde-haired Abel. Those are the left and the right sides of our mind. And of course, you know, since the carnal mind is not subject to the laws of God, and we spend a lot of time killing that side. He kills Abel. You know, it's always the intellectual side that invades on the spiritual side, because you got to think of it, you know. Oh, you know, like, why can't you think about it now and use this intellectual side to listen to me and say, hey, that sounds pretty cool, you know? But that's generally, it's your mind telling you not to do it, not to believe anything, you know, that comes from this side. You know, not to believe a damn thing, you know. But then, because it's a blind faith for some people to use, and because it was forced on you, you had to, it was like part of us. Even the atheists, you know, are saying, fuck that, you know. Well, religion did it to them. So, you know, religion got it. You know, religion, if you follow religion on the outside, you're missing the point. If you are scared of religion and don't know shit about it and join some other, like anybody else, you didn't like Christianity, well, you're just as lost, you know. If you're atheist, you know, all these guys, you know, fuck them. They're all in the same place. They're all feeding, because their energies, whether they're not there, you just have to breathe to serve Satan. You know, that's it. Eat, breathe. That's it. To serve the Lord, you have to shut this down every now and then. Go up and say hi. Come back down. Enjoy life. You're fine. You'll be just fine. See how simple it is? Just like that. So anyways, we're taught this from Adam and Eve. Don't think that there's an original sin brought on by a woman because she was tricking the men into doing things like this. Remember, there's a trick involved. In order to, you have to betray the skin to go up there, and that's how they call it. That's what they say. So, you know, if you can somehow one day learn to take that men or people have taken this wrong, and that they just don't know better, you know, and that one day maybe they figure out somehow of getting this other information out there. And it's not killing religion, it'll back it up, you know, because I'm hardly an atheist, you know. I don't believe these people ever fucking existed, but there's really some worth in this, you know, in the stories, you know. And it's fun to go and get all those other ones that they told you not to read, because the same stories, the same things are inside of them, but they're closer to the surface, you know. They're like so mystical that they couldn't make the cut, you know, because you would know right off the bat. You would just start saying, there's something more here. So anyways, I love you. I'll see you guys later. Let's hope that hurricane stays out there in the Atlantic and doesn't mess with nobody. All right, and the best prayers go out to to Cuba. You know, it's not often anyone ever has to go through a Hurricane 4 or 5. You know, that's tough. All right, well, best to y'all. Enjoy.